Well, we're told to hate China. They're communists. They're evil. Are they really communists? Why are we arming a satanic state? Why do we stand with a satanic state in Israel? Questions you should ask.
News, current affairs, facts and opinion. Their future in our hands. Markets, globalist technocrats versus the people. A line in the sand. The McIntyre Report.
And welcome back, folks. McIntyre Report. Jamie McIntyre reporting live here for Australian National View. ANR.news for our 24-hour news headlines. Charlie Kirk Memorial was held earlier today. 60,000 people at the stadium, over 3 million live stream viewers, and no doubt millions more around the world. We talked about that last episode. This episode, let's talk a little bit why World War III is coming our way. Of course, if you understand, all wars are pretty much banker wars. Those who understand, follow independent media, not fake news media, and don't believe fake news media is owned by the globalists and the people that print fake money. That would be the Rothschilds, who created the fake state in 1948, 77 years ago, and created the fake Federal Reserve, which is not federal or a reserve, and prints fake money to buy up the US Congress and fake politicians around the West, and owns your fake news media. They also push fake pandemics and fake climate change and fake vaccines. Pretty much everything is fake about these fake Jewish imposters that aren't even from Israel, but from Khazaria. Where is Khazaria? That would be eastern Ukraine, southern Russia. Can you understand? Is there perhaps a war going on there? Maybe that might give you a clue as to why. If you understand how the world works, you know these fake Jewish imposters also fool Christians into becoming fake Christians and standing with the fake state of Israel. They use the name fraudulently, ripping off a biblical nation that had the name of Israel. And they fool Christians to think, I read about this in the Bible. No, you didn't. Modern day state of Israel wasn't around. The Bible was written well before it ever existed. And Charlie Kirk realized this in recent years. He used to be pro-Israel and stand with Israel, but unfortunately, in the last few months, or fortunately, he woke up to that, and a fake state is the most likely suspect in having him killed. Of course, this fake state will give you a fake patsy to divert you and distract you of who actually shot him. But why do we have wars coming up? Because nearly all wars are banker wars, and they fight wars over who gets to issue the currency. And it used to be these fake Jewish imposters that had the control of the British Empire initially, but after World War II, they jumped to the American Empire, and they nearly sucked it dry too and destroyed and brought America almost to its knees. Trump was elected on the basis of making America great, make America first, and dump Israel, really. But obviously that didn't turn out too well, did it? They own him. And he's obviously blackmailed, extorted, and probably doesn't want to get Charlie Kirk. So either way, his presidency is now being destroyed by Israel. So America has a choice. The rise of China, is that a bad thing? Well, we're told to hate China. They're communists. They're evil. Are they really communists? I don't know. I didn't think private ownership was allowed in communism. They only have one party, a uni party. Well, kind of reminds us of us in the West. We think we have a democracy, but a democracy is that you have a Rothschild central banking system and you won't be called an evil dictator. You'll get to choose between left faction Zionism, right faction Zionism. What about in Australia? Do you have a choice? No, you're controlled by Israel. You get to choose the left side, the globalist left, or the right side, Netanyahu faction. Both lead back to Israel control. What about if you want to vote for one nation, a new party, or Nigel Farage in England? Israel. Pauline Hanson, what flag did she drape herself in at the Australian Parliament last year? Was it an Australian flag or, that's right, you guessed it, Israel flag. What about Nigel Farage? Spoke at CPAC, saw him there in Washington. We were there reporting live on behalf of Australian National View in Washington in February. And unfortunately, Nigel speaks very well, but he's also a Zionist. You don't become the future prime minister of a nation unless you do as you're told. But all this could be ending. Thanks to a nation we're told to fear, China. It's interesting. Why should we fear China? They're going to take us over. They're going to, in Europe, you run the mafia attack and go, Russia's going to invade you. In Australia, they tell you, China's going to invade you. If China wanted to invade Australia, I'm pretty sure their Navy could do it without even much effort at all. Actually, China's able to send 5% of their Navy right into our shores and circle Australia before Australians even know they're there. That's how good a defense system we have. We're too busy sending our last 46 Abraham tanks to Ukraine. We send all our Bushmasters to be blown to pieces. Why are we arming a satanic state? Why do we stand with a satanic state in Israel? Questions you should ask. We'd only stand with them as we're evil or deeply, deeply misled or controlled, I would dare say. So I don't fear China, because if you follow independent news, you know, well, China is a nationalist government. They're not planning 877 military bases around the world like Israel has to its proxy America. And it's not looking for another nation to bomb every week, but that would be Israel. And Israel's now picking on China. I just wonder why. But they're picking on someone that's a little bit too big for them. And China would welcome Israel to pick on them, because it will give China an excuse to squat this little retarded brother, you might call him, in retarded friend as in Netanyahu. He's got a big mouth, but a big coward. Shoots his mouth off because he's got the US to fight his wars for him. He's the guy that snipers kids in the head, who shoots you in the back or the neck, if you ask Charlie Kirk, and then go on unlimited TV shows to deny that Israel had anything to do with it. Why does no other president on the planet feel the need? No Russian president, Chinese president, Iranian president, no president in the whole world has a need to go on the TV relentlessly since Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirked and deny that their country didn't do it. Guilty behavior. We kind of said that. Who has motive, capability, pattern of behavior, and most probable to do it? Israel. But let's wait and see. We put $1 million challenge out there for Australian National Review before we started our investigations. We said, I bet you it's Israel. How do we know that? Because we already know the jigsaw puzzle. When you've seen a jigsaw puzzle 98% complete, you kind of recognize the patterns. If you had to start that jigsaw over again, you could quickly put it together, right? Because you know what it looks like largely. But if you've never put the jigsaw puzzle together or never seen it, you can't join the pieces. Or you start joining pieces that don't exist and get it wrong. Like you think Charlie's still alive somehow. Like joining dots or trying to connect the jigsaw puzzle that just doesn't go together. But Israel killing Charlie Kirk goes together, 99% probability already, because we also said if Israel did it, they'll look at how they do other assassinations. Let's say it's just JFK, and they'll create a patsy. They'll blame someone up on the roof. But it'll be someone close by that will shoot him, probably part of his security detail, just like they did to JFK. Lee Harvey Oswald, long distance range, wasn't the shooter. That's the patsy. They brainwash or tell you got a secret mission. You work for the government, we'll protect you. Yet Secret Service, very close by, popped him. Is that what happened to Charlie?
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
Did you just see that? Was that the shooter? How come he's not under investigation? Did you see the person behind Charlie in a white t-shirt? We don't know 100%, but there is phones now, mobile phones, well, not mobile phones, it can be guns that look like mobile phones. You can hold them in your hand. He's arm recalled. He had direct line of sight. And notice that Charlie was shot from the front by the patsy, who he predicted Israel was tell you it's a patsy. They'll have a patsy in place. That's how they do the assassinations. And they will predictably tell you it's a left is transgender because they want to frame the left to divide America, even though the far left is not cases. But if the far left have motive but not a lot of capability, if it was just a random hit, someone would have got a gun, snuck in, walked up through the crowd and tried to shoot Charlie. If it was a staged fake death, they would have shot Charlie in the bulletproof vest that Charlie wears all the time under his shirt, you can see. And just have a satchel of Hollywood blood there underneath the shirt. And that's how you'd fake his death. They wouldn't shoot him here in the neck. But you notice Charlie's head, if he was shot from the front here in the neck, the force would push you backwards. His neck would go backwards. But his neck didn't. His neck went this way, right? It means he was shot here. And there's an exit wound here. Despite them denying there's an exit wound, Turning Point USA, which is controlled by the Zionists, they have to deny it because the exit wound should be back here. But it's not. Because he shot from the side, most likely. The exit wound is visible, has been seen here. Is this the shooter? Look behind Charlie, clear line of sight, white t-shirt.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great. Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
Not 100% conclusive, but there is more footage available showing better angles than that, which we'll get to you in due course. But much more probable. Anyhow, the rise of China. Israel's come out now, Netanyahu's now starting war with everyone. They're not happy bombing every country in the Middle East. Not enough kids to genocide, so they're now picking a fight with China. But I think they picked the wrong person because China is on the rise.
According to top global analysts, by 2027, America may no longer survive as the world's dominant superpower, and China could be in full control. The U.S. currently holds a massive GDP of over $27 trillion, but it's weighed down by a record-breaking $34 trillion in national debt. Every second, that number grows, weakening America's economic foundation. On the other hand, China's GDP has already crossed $18 trillion and continues to rise rapidly, with far more control over its domestic debt. While America struggles with inflation, endless money printing, and political division, China is building global influence through trade, tech, and infrastructure, especially via its Belt and Road Initiative. Experts warn that if these trends continue, America could face an economic collapse, while China quietly takes charge, not with war, but with financial control and international alliances.
Yes. China is on the rise. Should we be scared by that? Well, you've been run by psychopaths like Netanyahu out of Israel who control the West. You can't say they don't control the West. Israel's controlled U.S. foreign policy for how long? Since World War II, at least. So there's no point denying it. We know Israel controls it. It's not America controls Israel. The anti-American sentiment in the world that was built up over the last few decades is really belongs to Israel, anti-Israel. But now the world has woken up. It's Israel. So if you have some friends that are still asleep and standing with Israel, slap them. For the sake of humanity, they need to be waken up. If you have some Christian friends standing with Israel now because of Charlie Kirk and are going to allow Charlie Kirk's death to be in vain, Charlie woke up to the fraud of Israel in recent months. As I've said before, we're going to have Charlie come to Australia to speak at the Free Speech Summit that Australian National Review hosted several months ago, but because he was pro-Israel, only on the basis of agreeing to a debate on why should anyone or any nation stand with Israel. But at that time, Charlie, fortunately, had some interviews with other commentators that had woken him up to the fact that maybe Israel is not the Israel that's in the Bible. It's not biblical Israel. It's a modern-day state of Israel created using a fraudulent name, a biblical name, by a bunch of banker wankers known as the Rothschilds family, dear Lord Rothschild's Balfour Declaration, 1917. All factual. And they called themselves God's chosen ones to fool Christian Zionists. They rewrote the Bible, Schofield's Bible, sent it into America to fool Christians to stand with Israel. That somehow these people from eastern Ukraine, Khazarians that were booted out of there by Russia hundreds of years ago for satanic child sacrificing practices, by the way. Don't know where the pedophiles come from. Now you know, pedophile heaven is Israel. If you're a pedophile, you can go to Israel and be perfectly safe. Strange. Or is it? Stand with Israel, you're standing with high taxation, you're standing with rip-off inflation of your wealth and everyone's wealth on the planet, you stand with massive immigration, you stand with degeneracy, you stand with the destruction of Western Christian values, you stand with the devil. And if you don't like me saying that, well, I'm sorry, but if the truth is rattling you and upsetting your friends, good. We don't support fake Jews and fake states and fake news media and fake politicians and people that swallow fake narratives and end up fake people. If fake people are offended by the truth, then good. Stop being fake. Stops hanging around fake friends. Is this what's going on with the crypto industry?
Russia has blown the whistle on a U.S. devaluation scheme.
America is trying to change the rules in the gold and cryptocurrency markets. Remember how much debt they have, $35 trillion.
Dropping a global bombshell this week, accusing the U.S. of plotting to erase its $37 trillion debt burden by taking said debt, shoving it into crypto, devaluing it, and then resetting the system with a gold revaluation. A series of moves that wouldn't just impact those using cryptocurrency, but would impact the entire dollar system, meaning your savings, your retirement, your paycheck. The scariest part is that the plan is already in motion. All holders would eat the loss, effectively reducing their wealth by 50%, while America would be able to reduce the debt burden significantly without ever having to call it a default. But here's the kicker. Even if you don't have any cryptocurrency, even if you never touch a stable coin, this devaluation won't just hit foreign nations and financial institutions. It will hit all dollar-denominated assets, everything within the dollar system, your savings, your retirement, your paycheck. All of it would lose value overnight. And the only way to truly protect yourself outside of that system is with physical gold and silver. The signs could not be any clearer. They're not even trying to hide it anymore.
Wow. Very interesting, huh? Despite me telling people that Bitcoin would be something you could invest in and do very well in 2013, those who listened obviously become multimillionaires. Many of our clients did. About $10 billion our clients have made through following the things that we've told them here at Australian National Review and 21st Century, not just from crypto, but from real estate markets. That's why we obviously tell people now the trend is escaping the West and taking some of your capital out of the West, out of the Australian property market in particular, and putting into the Indonesian property market. But the crypto, I've started selling BTC. I'm not saying you should do that. I don't give it financial advice. But I was always very bullish on that. But unfortunately, the financial revolution we're hoping to have with crypto will be kind of a little bit like the political revolution we're hoping to get with Trump, that he'd dump Israel and make America first. But it turned out he's made MAGA make Israel great again and destroy America. The same people are going to destroy the crypto industry they can by making Stablecoin Act, which has already passed through the Genius Act through Trump as a Trojan horse, and then stablecoins to be registered in America have to hold U.S. treasuries. Oh, how convenient. So they're meant to be asset-backed, but asset-backed by fake money. And they're already minting. They can't print money anymore because no one wants the fake money. China and Russia and the BRIC nations are going, bugger this. They're just exporting inflation to us, and they're just going to continue to fund the Israeli war machine, American war machine, to try and take us out with this fake money. We need our own currency. That's why the BRICS currency is coming. That's why I also was behind BRICS Tether, a project that is still in existence to be launched in the future, a stable coin outside the US. But the stable coin of the USDT, the biggest stable coin, they've been minting fake USDT. It's meant to be back one for one by the dollar, but it hasn't been for some time. They're just minting it, and they use that liquidity to go and prop up the BTC Bitcoin price. Did you know that? That's why I'm no longer a believer in that. Not saying it won't go higher. Of course it'll go higher, but it's a manipulated asset. It's a pump and dump, and they will push it higher for that purpose, because then they want to shift the US Treasury debt into the stable coins that people will use around the world, and everyone, they'll wipe off their debt, devalue that debt, and then basically the whole world shares in taking over the US debt. Interesting. Welcome back to McIntyre Report, folks. Jeremy McIntyre reporting live here from Australian National View Studios, ANR.Newsfire, 24-hour news headlines. Here's a gentleman I look up to. He's often on Piers Morgan. Let's hear what he had to say about the Charlie Kirk situation.
And let me read something that Charlie Kirk himself tweeted talking about free speech. Because in April, he said, tomorrow the House will vote on H.R. 867, a bill that will criminalize private boycotting of Israel, fines up to $1 million and prison up to 20 years. Bills like this only create more anti-Semitism and play into growing narratives that Israel is running the U.S. government. In America, you are allowed to hold differing views. You are allowed to disagree and protest. You're allowed to too many people who hate America to move here from abroad, but the right to speak freely is the birthright of all Americans. This bill should not pass. Any Republicans that vote for this bill will expose themselves. We will be watching very closely. And then it's very interesting that in the last 3 days after Charlie Kirk was killed, in the past 3 days, the Congress approved $650 million for Israel for missile defense. They presented an amendment that bans Pentagon from boycotting Israel. And they even proposed a bill to allow Marco Rubio to revoke citizenships for people critical of Israel. This is what we need to talk about. This is what we need to talk about. If there are people there who would celebrate if the Pope would kill. There are people it's been going on for years. Even when the Pope if he died, people celebrate his death.
Yeah.
This is words. Yeah, it could be terrible, offensive words. But when you turn words into destroying people's careers, revoking people's citizenship because they talk about a foreign country, this is the real problem. This is the real problem with freedom of speech. That's it. Not about people celebrating or angry about someone who died. All right. Our roads and infrastructures, our education system, our healthcare, they're failing. While settlers in the West Bank, they occupied Palestine, they get free housing and free healthcare, free education. Same in England. I mean, I'm sorry, but you as a very famous and a very able and a very competent investigative reporters, I think you should actually talk about why more than half of your cabinet in the British government is financed by Israel. Why the Royal Army, the Royal Air Force are giving logistical help to Israeli planes bombing Gaza. I'm sure that there's not a single British person who would agree on that. Isn't that more important than this kind of manufactured rage? I mean, why don't you talk about this is your tax money? Aren't you worried? No, but seriously.
No, I hear you.
I'm very, very curious. Yeah, but why don't you talk about this?
Very good questions. He always asks that, but it's obviously, at least you've got to give credit to Piers. He's a globalist puppet, but at least he gives airtime to people opposing views. And it's, I guess, one way to get the message out there. You can pretend that you're pro-Israel or neutral and still you allow people on to your stage. But again, that got Charlie Kirk killed, allowing people on. Dave Smith, Jewish commentator, former comedian, Tucker Carlson, Candace, Owens onto his platform and be somewhat critical of Israel. Doesn't go down too well.
How many of you guys think when a lawmaker, and a man I respect like Ted Cruz, uses the Bible to justify aid to Israel, doesn't even know the verse, do you guys think that's not the best way to approach this? Raise your hand. Okay.
I think Ted Cruz used Genesis 12:3. I think a lot of people see that as off-putting when you look at the New Testament.
Why?
Because I think a lot of people, they look especially at the writings of Paul where he talks about how the new flesh is not the same as the people in the old covenant. The new flesh is everybody, everyone's included.
You're talking about Romans 9?
Yes, 9:6, yeah.
Are you Catholic?
Converting to Catholic from
Judaism.
I can
tell. This is my next
Oh, from Judaism?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So you're ethnically Jewish.
Ethnically Jewish, yes.
And you have concerns about AIPAC.
Yes, I do.
I'm told that by some people that if I criticize AIPAC, I'm anti-Semitic.
I think it's ridiculous, yeah. I feel like it's great to have a concern for your country.
Do you think that that AIPAC represents, again, I'm not saying how many?
Well, a lot of people don't realize that if you now want to stand with Charlie and it's affected you emotionally, you resonate with Charlie's message. He was a very good Christian. He has morals and principles. He was waking up. So do not believe the Israeli media and their funded Israeli influencers and shills and the massive budget they put in to trying to convince you, like Netanyahu, that he was a friend of Charlie's. Charlie rejected his offer to go and meet Netanyahu and said privately he was a bully and called him out for stand-down orders over October 7th, that Israel is a complicit in allowing October 7th to happen. If you study it more, you'll find they were actually behind October 7th, as they were behind September 11th. How many people still in this world today, 24 years later, still don't even know who is September 11th? 7 wars in 5 years, not a clue. Netanyahu saying we benefit from September 11th. Jewish people being told before it happened. Jewish art students that were intelligence agencies in the building, loaded with explosives. I mean, come on now. The fake narrative that their intel agencies they control told you, and their fake news media that told you, and Netanyahu lying, which should also tell you the truth, and people still don't want to accept the truth because no, we should believe in the comfort of lies giving us lies because we're too lazy mentally to think for ourselves. Is that how the world works? Just maybe. Well, times are changing.
The Daily Mail put out this headline about me. I can't even like this. Look at this journalist, Victoria Churchill, who reached out. She writes, Candace Owens rages after being snubbed from the Charlie Kirk Memorial speaking roster. When did this happen? Like, the lying here is actually making me uncomfortable.
She needs to bring receipts. Bill Ackman brought receipts. How long was that tweet? You're on the board of Turning Point?
Yeah. No,
When's the last time she was at a Turning Point event?
Not in many years. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this, what I already know was a very quiet breakup where she got too rabbit hole for him. She would be the logical heir to the TPUSA throne.
She's not there.
One of the names.
Wait, you don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No.
That's not the funeral.
The heir to the TPUSA throne.
She doesn't speak at the events anymore.
I mean,
you know, while I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event, which the feds are organizing, is probably a very good idea. I'm good. You know what I'm going to listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. How's that for a memorial for Charlie Kirk? That feels like the right thing for me to do right now. I mean, I'm not going to this memorial because it's strange. To lie like this is very strange. For context, just so you can realize how odd this is, I spoke at Turning Point's conference, 2 conferences last year. It's so easily, like I said, debunkable that you have to ask yourself why they are saying it. Here is me speaking on Turning Point USA's stage last year. And here's what I said, by the way, which got Charlie in a lot of trouble.
It's not that difficult. America first. First name America, last name first. We put this country's interests before the interests of foreign countries overseas. All of them. I don't care.
And yeah, Charlie got in trouble for the stuff that I said on stage. And then they came inward. I told that I was not allowed to speak at AmFest. The donors were making threats. But like, I went on tour with Turning Point last year. It's still on their website. It's so, this is like the strangest thing. And then when you look into who's writing these articles, like Victoria Churchill, you note that she has a connection to AIPAC. So AIPAC is pushing this. Here she is, starting off 2018 in DC, and she's got a picture of herself. If you can scroll down, I don't know if you can see this, like sitting in the audience in AIPAC, and she's thrilled. America, Israel. I've never stopped talking to Charlie. I mean, yesterday I released just one of many messages that I have with Charlie, which prove that he was, in the months leading up to this, concerned about Israel and how Israel was coming after our free speech. Free speech meant a lot to him. Me and Meghan and Tucker are not lying to you. Charlie was concerned about the speech, that he felt the restrictions. And inevitably, this happens when you get into bed with Israel. You can't criticize them at all, as Meghan said, before you start enduring threats.
Well, there you have it. Candace Owens, we've got to give a credit to her. We should really speak up and support her. Obviously, Israeli paid influencers and shills are going after Candace Owens, and people are being brainwashed that she's spreading dangerous misinformation. Okay, the world is always the opposite. That means she's telling the truth, and Israel doesn't want you to know the truth. The truth is, it will come out that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. We have $10 million here, Australian National Review, on the line. So if you doubt that, if you doubt what independent media already knows, by all means, take $10 million off us. Till next time, we'll see you in the McIntyre Report.